This time on Emily's Dodge Dart project, we do a full teardown on the 340 engine. I'm going to give you all the tech info on every year of production on the 340. We're going to go and give you some highlights on the key parts. We've got the field guide truck and we've got a giant bird's nest of wire, which I really don't know what that has to do with anything. You?
We'll see.
Okay. I hope you guys have been following the Emily's Dodge Dart project. It's a 1967 Dodge Dart convertible, and right here, what we have is going to be the engine. Now, it's a Mopar 340, which matches what it says on the hood that Emily selected, right?
Yes.
You couldn't have a 318.
Yeah, we were going to put a 318 in it, and then I got to choose a hood, and it had 340 on it. I didn't actually know what that meant at the time, but it became a bit of a project creep. And here we are.
So this engine was in my 1971 Plymouth Satellite when I bought it. It wasn't original to the car. It's a 340, which is kind of a famous small block in the Mopar world, and I'm going to tell you a lot more about the 340s, a full history rundown. But for now, the kind of history on this engine was it came with the car I bought. It was originally a 318 car. Somebody swapped it in. I swapped it out and put an even higher performance built small block. But it was a runner. It's going to be a lot better when we get done, right? Mm-hmm. It's going to be a full rebuild. It's got a little bit of bore wear. It's not too bad, but the first step is going to be a full disassembly, and then we're going to show you some of the key parts that we've acquired to build this thing.
Yeah, I don't even really know what a 340 is, so maybe I'll ask a couple of questions. So 340 is bigger than a 318, and so it's more powerful, and that's the difference.
Yeah, basically the bore diameter
Uh-huh.
plus how much the piston moves up and down.
Uh-huh.
It defines one cylinder, the volume of that in cubic inches, times 8 is the volume of the whole engine. So one engine build, tear down and build, and you'll totally get it. I remember when I was a kid, engines were a mystery to me, and then once I built one, I knew everything about engines, became a worldwide authority on engine build. Yeah.
Of course. Oh, I know.
Hey Emily, you want to go grab the new parts?
Yeah, sure. So American. I know they're not yours, but well. The pistons. And the cylinder heads and the connecting rods. A bit heavy. Okay, here are all the new parts. Okay, number one. Okay, that was just a quick peek for me, but we'll come back to it. But I just wanted to have a little look inside the box. Okay, I'm going to try and demonstrate what I do know about engines, and I'll probably ask you questions, but when you explain, don't tell me too much because it might cut off my next knowledge.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Yeah, no.
Okay, so here's the block. Here are the pistons. And the terminology when talking about the movement of pistons is 4-stroke, correct?
Yes.
And that's because there are 4 things that happen. So the pistons compress up and down, and first we have intake,
Yeah.
where fuel and air is taken into one of the cylinders. Am I right? Okay. And then we have compression, where that's compressed. And then we have an electrical spark, right?
Right.
I don't know what it's called.
I didn't teach her any of this.
I don't know what that's called though, but then the electrical spark happens
Ignition.
to ignite combustion, which is going to power our engine. And then in the last stroke, we have the exhaust, right?
Wow.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay.
The audience is going to think I brushed you up, but I didn't tell you anything.
And then this is the crankshaft.
No, it's the camshaft.
Okay, this is the camshaft. And this moves the pistons, right?
No, the crankshaft does. It's here. We're going to dig in and take that crankshaft out because we're going to do a full teardown on the engine.
Okay, and the intake manifold goes here.
Yes.
Okay, that's all for now.
And the cylinder heads go on top of the cylinders, which we'll talk about more when we show the cylinder heads we're going to run.
Cool, that was pretty good.
Yeah, now take a seat and I'll just give you the complete rundown on 340s because I know a little bit about them. The 340 was Chrysler's premium high-performance engine. It replaced the 273, and unlike the 273, which was available in a utilitarian two-barrel version, the 340 was nothing but a high-performance engine throughout production, and the production ran from 1968 to 1973, at which point it was replaced by the 360, which most people didn't really like, and it was replaced by a 360 two-barrel when it first came out. So the thing is, the 340 in 68, I'm going to give you the whole rundown on the performance parts of the 340 and what made it kind of special. Number one, it had bigger cylinder heads than the 273 or 318 later on, which flowed a lot more. The valve size was 202 on the intake, 1/600 on the exhaust, which was pretty big. That matched the numbers on a small block Chevy performance engine. So that was good. Compression ratio, 10.5 to 1. Flat top pistons, 0 deck. Actually, there might have been a little positive deck. And in 68, there were two camshafts available. The 268, 276 duration, 430, 444 lift. That was used only in automatic transmission equipped cars. The manual transmission cars got a hotter cam. It was 276, 284. Now we're talking gross duration here. And they upped the intake lift to match the exhaust at 444. But that only lasted 1 year, and then they used the automatic cam in all the rest of the 340s until the end of production in 73. Now, the early engines were also benefiting from a forged steel crank, which was super strong. They had beefier rods than the 273 and the 318, and they were bushed for a floating pin. And some people say forged pistons, but no. They were cast pistons, but pretty durable. The OEM cast pistons were actually excellent. In 72, things changed. They went to a cast iron crankshaft. They went to external balance to make up for the weight difference in the crankshaft. So cast crank not as good as forged. They're still pretty strong, but you know, if you had a choice, which one would you pick? I'd get the forged crank every time. The connecting rods lost the bushings, and so they had a pressed pin. The compression height of the pistons went down, and with that, the compression ratio also went down to 8.5 to 1 from 10.5 to 1. So 72 was a downgrade in performance for sure. The other thing was in the cylinder heads, which were basically identical castings to the earlier heads, which were the X heads. The J head on the 340 later on, or the 915 head by casting number, they shrunk the intake valve to 1.88. In fact, it was the same size that they had on the 360, and the heads interchanged between the two. So lower performance heads, less compression ratio, cast crank, no pin bushing. The 73 was not as good, but you can build them up. The blocks are basically just as good. And for this project, I had an opportunity to choose from the 340s I already had. I chose this 73 engine because we're changing the pistons anyway. I'm going to put in a forged crank. I'm using aftermarket rods. So the 73 is every bit as good of a choice as the 68 or 69 or 70, the heart of the performance years. Oh, let's not forget 71, that's a good one too. We're gonna tear this thing down, and then once we get this thing all in bits, the block's gonna go over to the machine shop and we'll show you some of the key parts that are gonna make this 73 340 great. I've got you a hook.
Cool. So I'm guessing we take these bolts out first.
You want those things that are up on the floor.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
Okay, but what is the plan?
Take out the lifters first. I usually push them up from the bottom, but you can use the hook to grab it like that. And if you're reusing them, you keep them all in order.
Yeah.
They're mated to whatever camshaft load that they were riding on.
Uh-huh.
But this stuff we're not going to reuse.
Okay. Oops.
They're slippery.
Yeah.
I'll lead you to it.
Okay. Luckily we're not reusing these ones. Do you want to grab that one on the ground?
Oh, you dropped one?
Yeah, but we're not.
Emily.
Oh, I don't. Really?
Oh.
I thought we didn't have to be too gentle because we're not reusing them.
No. It's not good form though. If we were reusing them, we'd be in trouble.
Gosh, I must be an amateur or something.
Well, you'll learn. Practice makes perfect.
That's all of them out.
Okay. Can you get the short impact with a 5/8? We're going to take the cam drive off next.
Okay, here.
Oh, wrong way.
Oh my gosh, that was so silly of me to not check.
Oopsie doopsie.
Yeah, look.
Well, I know I've been in here before, so I'm not sure if I changed the camshaft, but that grade 8 bolt is like that's a Dulcich edition. That's not factory.
Oh, no wonder it looks so nice and gold. Against
Oh
the
yeah.
old block. Okay.
We're gonna reuse that bolt.
Thank you.
You know what this is?
That's key to the camshaft. It's the fuel pump eccentric. It operates the mechanical fuel pump.
And this engine was already partially torn down. This is the way I had it stored after I got it out of the satellite. Obviously there's no front dress, there's no front cover, and there's no cylinder heads. So it's basically what we call a short block, and that's what we're starting with. And now we got to kind of work the chain, the gear off the camshaft.
Do you need strength or just precision?
Let me see. Sometimes you need to use the tool. Okay, that's pretty stuck on there, so we're going to need to use
Like a crowbar?
Well, I might reuse the timing chain because it looks pretty good. Actually, it's excellent. So I'm going to get a puller.
Okay, so we can be gentle.
This is actually like a high quality pro
It's like
gear puller. Can you screw that center part in? You can do the honors.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, it was your part. I've got a little wound on my elbow. I might strain myself. See how it's pulling it off right now? Good stuff. I might have to move the crank gear forward a little bit. I'll get a pry bar for that one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all coming off now.
I thought you were holding it and I guess you thought I was holding it.
I thought I was too.
Oh, right.
So we're going to put our save parts in here. I'm going to reuse that timing set. This is a high performance timing set. So I'd probably replace that. And then you don't want to lose the cam fuel pump drive. It's a special cupped washer and this thing. If you don't have it, you can't put your motor together.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Okay. Now we can take the camshaft out. I'm kind of curious what the camshaft is. I don't know if I replaced it or not. There we go. Usually the back of the cam is marked with what it is.
What are the options?
Oh, there's all kinds of aftermarket cams. Oh my gosh, I can't read anything.
Like, would you like me to have a look? Like engraved?
Yeah, engraved or stamped in there, something like that.
4? Would that make any sense?
Oh, it's a number 4 camshaft. Well, okay. Most of the time you'll see an engraving on the back side of the camshaft on the last journal when you pull it out. If it's an aftermarket cam, it'll say comp cams and it'll give a number so you can identify what it is, or it might say Iski cams or Urson or Crane or whatever the manufacturer was, plus their code and sometimes even the grind number. But this one is a stock one, so it's got nothing. The next thing we're going to do is drop the pan, and I'm not sure if there's oil in it or not, so always better to check than drop it all over the floor.
Maybe put it back a little bit, thanks.
This is not really the best drain pan. It's a little too tall, but it's what I have.
Okay.
Ooh. A little bit of something in there. Oh boy.
Oh, yuck.
That's the oil pan.
Uh-huh.
That's where the oil goes when you pour oil in the engine.
Uh-huh.
Goes in the oil pan. Now, this is a stock oil pan, which you can see is completely just an open sump. There's nothing good or special about it whatsoever, even on the 340 motor. And what's going to happen is you take this thing to the drag strip, the oil's right here in the center, and then when you accelerate super fast, it all splashes to the back, and then the oil pump's not picking up any oil. So I'm going to extensively baffle this thing with a custom dulcet sheet metal baffle, and that'll fix that. So that's my whole tirade about the stock oil pan. Stick this in the end of the crankshaft and then tighten the nut. That's custom crank turners what I made.
Nice. Okay.
And I'll spray some lube around the cylinders so they can be easier to remove. Hey, Emily, over there on the maroon 72 Charger that's in between shop B and C,
Yeah.
on the trunk lid or the boot, if you will, there's a copper hammer. Can you grab that?
Sure.
Oh, it turns over, that's pretty good. So this was a pretty good running engine, but not a great running engine. It's going to be a fantastic engine when we're all done. I've got really good stuff, so gonna be awesome. Okay, now we're gonna turn it over.
Do you need my help?
I can probably manage, but she's all yours.
Okay.
Oh, bonus!
What?
Keep on going. Oh boy, I didn't even see that. Alright. Right here is the factory windage tray, which keeps the oil that is draining down on the crankshaft from splashing on the crankshaft and slowing it down because the oil is really thick and the crankshaft's turning really fast in there. So this tray right here separates oil from the crank, and there's special bolts underneath that they don't make anymore.
Oh,
So
is that why you're excited?
Yeah, I've
About
got
the bolts or the...
both.
Ah.
I mean, the 340 I figured would have the windage tray, but
Uh-huh.
I wasn't 100% sure if this one did.
There you go.
My job's easy.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. 4 bolts. The magnificent factory windage tray. And the special bolts. See how they've got the thing to take these screws in it?
Uh-huh.
Instead of being a regular, ordinary bolt like that.
Yeah, I don't feel that excited about the windage tray.
You're not that excited about the windage tray?
No.
Oh, what's wrong with you, Emily?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Maybe.
Seriously?
Yeah, I don't know. It might grow on me though.
It actually was just on the high performance engines and police cars.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so if you had a Cop 360 and E58, it would have the windage tray.
I feel bad that I'm not matching your enthusiasm on that, but I want to be earnest.
Well, maybe you'll grow to appreciate the windage tray more.
Maybe.
I think so.
There's a little feather in here.
Feather.
Yeah, like a tiny bit of a feather.
Oh, it's got the factory feather
Dad!
right in there. Whoa! Next is your oil pump. 2 9/16 bolts.
Okay.
Well, actually, there are 3/8 bolts with the 9/16 head, but I call it 3/8. Might get the 3/8 socket. Would you?
Well, if that's what you told me, yeah.
If I said they're 3/8 bolts, you should. Never mind. Get the oil
We
pump.
might have to do some more lectures.
Mm.
There you go.
Ah. The
There you
official
go.
holder of things.
I know, you're so good at it.
Oh, thanks. Could reuse that pump, they last forever, but we'll get a high volume, high pressure pump.
Okay.
Just pretty high RPM.
Sounds amazing.
Okay, next we're going to take the pistons out.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll put the engine like so, and then need the pin.
Oh, and we rotate it so that they go up?
They have to be in the right orientation or they'll get stuck.
Okay.
I'll show you
Because
that.
different ones come up and down at different times.
Yes.
Yeah.
They
Like
come-
in my explanation earlier. Oh, whoa!
See, the crankshaft has an axis of rotation that goes through these 5 main caps. That's the circle right here. There's bearings that it rides on. And then the connecting rods are connected to what's called the throws, which is offset, by a certain amount. And
Oh my gosh, this is so good.
the crankshaft configuration
Yeah.
determines how much the piston moves. Like if you look at these right here, they move exactly. The stroke on this is 331, but if this stuck out more, it would be a longer stroke, making the engine bigger. Like you can get a 4-inch stroke crank that'll go right in this block and turn your 340 into a 416. But we don't need a 416.
No, I don't think we do either.
It'll use a lot more fuel and
And I feel like 340 is pretty good.
Yeah, 340 is going to give you a good.
We don't need the biggest possible.
No.
Just pretty good.
Yeah. It's gonna.
Oh no, it's really good actually.
It's gonna get crazy. It's it's gonna get more power than that car can really put to the ground. It's gonna be super fast, and I think it'll have all the power we need. We don't need the stroker engine with the big crankshaft.
And it matches the hood.
Yeah, it matches the hood, of course. I almost lost that one. This is called the cap.
Okay.
So you
yeah.
gotta wriggle it off like that.
Oh, I see, one at a time. And then we'll do the full removal.
Yeah, I gotta give you a tool that I invented.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I can find it.
You're actually a really good inventor.
Thanks, Emily.
It's okay.
This is a brass drift.
Uh-huh.
And like you can kind of like hammer on the rod bolts, but then it'll come off. And
You want to keep holding it so it doesn't fall out the other side? So...
no.
Oh.
I mean,
Sorry to interrupt.
I drilled the hole right
Uh-huh.
there in the end of it, and so you could slip it right on the
Yeah.
thing there,
Uh-huh.
and the brass won't scratch the journal.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Why?
It's brass, and brass is soft, like a pretty soft metal. There you go. Just like that.
Woohoo! Great invention.
Yeah.
In the box.
Let me take a look at something.
Okay.
Wow, this is really interesting. I just presumed that they got rid of the floating pin in 72 and 73, but that's got a true arc retainer in it. It's a floating pin, so it's a bushed rod. This is a premium connecting rod for a factory rod. Really good. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention is, let me get the bearing insert out. That's rubbish now, but the cap and the rod are a pair, and they shall never be parted. And like if you lose the cap or mix them up on a different rod, it won't work.
Really?
Yeah, because it's sized as a matched pair. So do you see the little notch right there?
Yes.
Do you see a matching notch there on the cap?
Yes.
They always go notch to notch. If you put it on backwards, it's not going to be a perfect circle there anymore.
Okay, nice.
That's good.
Here's the special tool.
The last thing I'm going to take off the outside of the block is going to be the oil filter adapter. Now, this is a plate style, and they also have a 90-degree cast style, which depends on fitment of the exhaust system. You may sometimes need a 90-degree, or sometimes you can use the flat plate. When I use flat plate, I'll often drill an extra 4 holes, so it has twice as many feed holes there, or return holes, whichever the case may be. All right, Emily, I'll leave you to it. You can get that crankshaft out. It's super heavy, and I don't want to strain myself, so I'll be back when it's all done.
Of course. Really loud. I don't want to do it again. I got some earmuffs because I don't want to hurt my ears, because it's nice to have a working body. Okay, now I'm going to try and lift the crankshaft out. Apparently it's really heavy, but I don't need to worry about scratching it since we're not using it. Apparently it's like a bicycle. And maybe I need to take this off. Oh no. I did my first, I've never been able to do a push-up in my life. And I did like 3 sets of 10 last night. So, success. Okay, cool, so crankshaft out, and that was the last thing. So here is our base block that we can take to the machine shop for prep. Yeah, looking pretty empty and absolutely definitely ready for a clean, I would say, because it's really dirty. But yeah, we'll load it in the pickup and then I guess take it in the morning.
Okay, right here, sprawled out in front of me are some of the key parts I got for Emily's 340 project. First off, the cylinder heads. These are AFR enforcers, and it's kind of a new product. These things haven't been on the market for very long, and it's a very nice looking piece. I don't know if this has been tested on the media anywhere up till now, but it's got what looks like a 1.25 inch spring pack. It's a dual valve spring, which is really good for high RPM and lightweight. So the dynamics of these springs is excellent for high RPM use. And it's got a 202 intake valve, a 1/600 exhaust, pretty standard fare there. It's a 62 cc chamber. And if you flip it around over here, the intake ports are 175 cc, which isn't gigantic. This is not an all-out race head. This is an excellent street head. I think it's going to be perfect for our application. So this is a key component for our entire power production plan. Right here I've got the connecting rods that I chose. It's a Scat I-beam, and it's kind of like an entry-level connecting rod, but I've used them in the past. They're extremely durable, and this will take 7,500 RPM plus with the lightweight piston, no problemo at all. So it comes with ARP bolts, and they're cap screw style to give you extra clearance in case you're doing a stroker. Ours is going to be a stock 331 stroke. It's bushed on the pin end, which is kind of good, and it's got an oiler right here at the top to provide pin oiling. I've got complete confidence in these. I've run them a lot and never had a failure, so that's a really good connecting rod at a pretty good price. Yeah, the next thing I'm going to talk about here is going to be the piston. This is from Autotech. It's a 4032 alloy, which is the high silicone alloy. That gives you more durability in a street application and much greater wear resistant than a race alloy. It's a forged piston. It's going to be super durable. It's got way more RPM capacity than we're ever going to touch in this engine build. It's got a 1.5 millimeter, 1.5 millimeter, 3 millimeter ring pack, which is lower drag, lower friction, less engine temperature, if you believe me, because I think that big fat rings add up to a lot of friction and raise your coolant temperature. So this piston is all win. The really nice thing about it is 1.802 compression height, which puts the piston right at top dead center, zero deck, with a 9.58 deck height on the block, which is right where the engine is, like stock to a 20 thousandths skim on the deck.
So this I call the utility pickup because I think it's really ugly and we use it all the time. So yeah, that's the utility pickup. It doesn't even have a bonnet. When I first drove it, which was a couple of years ago, the steering was all messed up as well, and you could hardly steer it anywhere. So this truck it functions really well, but it's pretty basic. So I was actually taking up some vineyard with my older brother James, and so it's filled with wire, but I'll just take it out and then we'll put the 340 block in it so we can take it to the machine shop, because utility pickup always good for every job. It's also got 4-wheel drive, so if you get stuck in the mud, you can just 4-wheel drive your way out. obviously none of the instruments work either, so you never know if there's any fuel. You never know if you're in drive, neutral, reverse. No speedometer. It's a really nice feature of the car. Working with wire, you got to be really careful because it all coils up and springs and cuts you. So always need some safety goggles and to err on the side of caution. It's actually really awful to work with, but not all jobs are fun. I try and get it in one big giant ball so I don't have to move as much wire. And I just go really slow so it doesn't scratch. Okay, that's all the wire. I hope you guys liked my really helpful wire tips for when you have to do vineyard removal. Now I guess we'll just go load up the truck and take it to the machine shop.
Why don't you grab the other end of this block?
Yes, Dad.
I don't know, it might be a little heavy.
Gloves?
Most definitely. Wire? Oh! That was pretty good, Emily. Nice job. Yeah, you got it. Alright, that's good.
Utility pickup comes in handy again.
It is a really good looking truck though, right?
Not to me, but
What?
I know that you like it.
I love this thing.
Nice.
Off to RPM Machine in Tulare, California. I use them for a lot of engine builds. Those guys are top notch. Ah, I almost forgot the celebration. Nice work, Emily.